Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Miss Cope's Read Aloud. Hopefully yesterday you got some time to take a break, a mindful moment, or you caught up on some work, and that's okay. But today is Thursday, May 7th, and we are back to work today. Read aloud is my favorite part of the day because I get to read It Ain't So Awful Falafel with all of you, which I'm super duper into so far, and I hope you are too. We left off on the chapter called Tuna. The next day I see Mrs. Klein in her driveway. "Hello, Mrs. Klein," I say. "What a sunny day." "It certainly is, Cindy, and thank you again for babysitting." "Any time," I answer. "You know, I'm just so happy to have found you, Cindy. It's so important for me to spend time with my friends. Sure, we play tennis, but it's just an excuse to chit-chat and vent a little, if you know what I mean." I don't know what she means by vent, but the image of her chatting with her friends gives me an idea. "Mrs. Klein," I begin, "my mom does not have any friends in Newport Beach, and I was wondering if you could help her meet some people." "Honey," she says, "I'll be happy to organize a doubles match and then lunch at the tennis club. The restaurant there makes the most fantastic tuna fish salad with cashews." "My mom doesn't play tennis," I say. "How about a round of golf?" Mrs. Klein suggests. She doesn't play golf. "How about an easy hike?" "My mom likes tuna fish salad with cashews." "I'll try to think of something," Mrs. Klein says, somewhat hesitantly. I feel completely stupid for asking. I think it was thoughtful for Cindy to ask. The Hawaiian Islands, next chapter. Original Sydney and I did not reach our tanning goal during the second week of our month-long project. She got sick and missed a week. Then I started babysitting David a lot, so I missed the last week. I was actually relieved. Tanning bores me to tears, even though it leaves me without tears. But since school starts tomorrow, I've decided to connect with her again. After all, she's my one and only friend at Lincoln Junior High. I knock on her door. "Hi, Cindy," I say when she answers. "Hi," she says with her hands on her hips. "I was wondering if you want to walk together tomorrow. We can be two tan gals going to school, even though the color on my legs is totally peeling," I say, pointing to the pink patches on my calves that look like Hawaiian Islands. "Well," she says, shifting her weight from one leg to another, "I don't know how to say this in a nice way, so I'm just gonna come out with it. I don't want to walk to school with you." "What?" "I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I'm just gonna be honest. You have nothing to say when we're together. I have to talk all the time, plus you called Magic a unicorn and Captain doesn't like you. I feel like that's a sign. It's true that I don't say much when we're together, but that's because Cindy never stops talking. I only called Magic a unicorn because you said you danced together to imaginary music," I explain. "Don't you think that's unicornish?" "That's disrespectful," she says. "I'm pretty sure Magic wouldn't like you, just like Captain doesn't. I want nothing more than to be invisible and disappear." I turn around to leave. One more thing," Original Cindy adds. "You don't know the words to Love Will Keep Us Together." I could totally tell. She's right. I don't know the words to the coolest song ever. I have no friends, and apparently horses and kittens don't like me either. I may have changed my mind, but my life is still the same. That's too bad. Next chapter, Life as a Turtle. I set my alarm for 6, but wake up at 5 with a stomachache. I lie there hoping and praying that I will not have a class with Original Sydney. I wish I could be like Pippi Longstockings and not go to school and have a pet monkey who loves me. My dad offers to drive me, which is good since I do not want to walk alone. On the way there, he asks me if I'm nervous. "I'm fine," I tell him. "Now that you have an American name, things should be easier. Plus, Susan is a beautiful name," he says. "It's Cindy," I reminded him. I told my parents about my name change yesterday. My dad thought it was a great idea. He understands my problem, because whenever someone asks his name, he starts sweating. My mom says it makes no sense. I didn't expect her to understand. My dad drops me off in the front parking lot. Have a good day, he says. I think he's hoping his cheerfulness will somehow make this terrible experience better. I watch him drive away in the Impala. All I hear around me are squeals of excitement from kids who haven't seen their friends all summer. Oh my God, it's so good to see you. Who do you have first period? This is not just a terrible day, it's a terrible, horrible, very bad day. I'm used to being the new kid, but this time it feels worse. Maybe it's because the school is so big. Lincoln Junior High is huge. It's like an airport, loud, crowded, and confusing, but without helpful people in uniforms telling you where to go. I have 6 classes each day, and each day has a different schedule. That's a lot to remember. Elementary school was much easier. I walk around looking for my locker, but all I notice is how big the 8th graders are. The girls are wearing makeup and fancy clothes. You could definitely tell the 6th graders from the 8th graders. I avoid eye contact with everyone, especially the boys who are not just big, but mean looking. I have 10 minutes to find my first class, so I decide to look for my locker later. If only they had signs telling us where to go, like on freeways. As soon as I find room 23, I go in. You're early, the teacher says, looking up from a stack of papers. The classroom is empty. I know, I just wanted to tell you that I have a different name from what is on your roll call. What's your name? She asked, holding up the attendance sheet. It's right there, I said, pointing to it. But just call me Cindy. I don't bother pronouncing my real name. No need to go there. Alrighty then, she says, crossing out Zomorod and writing in Cindy. Thanks for letting me know. Can I stay here until the bell rings, or do I have to leave, I ask. You can stay, she says. Sit anywhere. I sit in the front row in the seat closest to the wall, hoping I will blend in with the poster next to me. It shows a dog jumping high for a frisbee on a sunny day. Across the blue sky, it says, attitudes are contagious. Ooh, I like that. The bell rings and kids start streaming in. I take out my binder and pretend to be reading something. A few minutes later, a second bell rings. Every seat fills up except for the front row center. No one wants to sit right in front of the teacher. When everyone is settled in, the teacher stands in the front of the classroom. Hello. I am Miss Masatini. Hopefully I said it right. Welcome to Homeroom and to Social Studies. Before I make announcements and hand out books, she says, pointing to a stack of books next to her, I'm going to quickly take a roll. First, for the first time ever in America, I am not dreading the moment. Elizabeth Anderson, Michael Avis, Matthew Brown. She goes down the list, and when she gets to my name, she looks up and says, in Sydney, I know you're here. Brilliant. Not only do I have a normal name, but the teacher already knows me. She's starting next week. Mrs. Masatini announces I'm going to assign helpers to take the roll sheet to the attendance office. For today, I will take it myself. While I'm gone, I want you to grab one of those textbooks and start reading chapter 1. As soon as she leaves, someone says, move. I look up to see a boy standing over me. Move, quick. He pushes me aside. With a thick black marker, he writes something on the poster underneath the word attitudes are contagious. He runs back to his seat while a bunch of kids giggle. I hate this class already. A few minutes later, Mrs. Masatini returns and takes the seat. A bunch of kids are still giggling. Settle down, she says. Now let's open up our books and see what's in store for us. Sydney, can you please tell us? That's as far as she gets. Okay, who did that? She asked, pointing to the poster, which now also has the words, so is venereal disease. Oh, goodness. Written in the blue sky. No one says anything. Is anybody going to tell me who did that, or do I have to punish all of you? No one makes a peep. Alrighty then, here's what's going to happen. Instead of having our first test in 2 weeks, we're going to have it on Friday. That means you will have twice the amount of reading this week. You can start chapter 1 now. I want complete silence. If you make a sound, you will go to the principal's office. And by the way, if you are going to deface private property, you should at least learn to spell correctly. She turns around and writes, venereal disease on the blackboard. I have to look it up in the Webster's Dictionary when I get home. Oh man, what a first period. So when I was Cindy's age, my name is spelled Kesia, and a lot of my teachers would pronounce it Kesia. So I would dread roll call. But she found a way around it. She went early and told her teacher, hey, I prefer Sydney instead of Zomorod. Bear with me, there's some tricky names in here. All right, next chapter, pasta. I can't find my next class. There are only 5 minutes in between classes and I'm frantically rushing all over the place. I realized eventually that I have been running in circles in the wrong part of the school, like those hamsters in the pet shops running on a wheel going nowhere fast. I am panicking. Finally, I find the room, but dear God, it's too late. The teacher, Miss D'Angelo, had started taking attendance. Oh no. Even though the class is pretty rowdy and loud, I take the first empty seat I see. I'm all out of breath. When Miss D'Angelo gets to my name, she pauses. I recognize her look of sheer panic. It's that face you make if you bite into a lemon instead of an orange. Before she begins the most embarrassing attempts to pronounce it, I interject. You can call me Cindy. Thank you, because I need help with that name, she says. Then the class becomes very quiet while everyone stares at me. Miss D'Angelo asks me how to pronounce my real name. Why can't you just move on? Isn't there a lesson plan today? Zomorod, I say really quietly. A bunch of kids go, whoa. She asks me what kind of name that is, and I think, dear God, please make this the last question. I'm from Iran, I say. That's lovely, she says. My family's from Italy. Being from Italy is very different than being from Iran. Everyone knows about Italy. It's shaped like a boot, and they eat pasta and have nice purses. Being from Iran is like being from Mars. Aside from Iranians, pretty much no one has been there. Right when I think the detour into questions about my life is over, some kid yells, did you, bring your camel with you? Everyone laughs. I look to see who said that. It's a boy with blonde, feathered bangs that need a trim. I want to say something, but I cannot think of anything clever. I want to yell back. I have never owned a camel. I don't, though. I just keep quiet while everyone laughs. Finally, Miss D'Angelo says, okay, everyone, enough. I can't believe the boy doesn't get in trouble for being so rude. That was rude. When I hear unkind comments like that in my classroom, I address it immediately, because being unkind is not cool. I managed to find my next class pretty easily. I tell the teacher my new name before she calls attendance. Smooth sailing, no drama. Whew! In the middle of the lesson, there's a giggly announcement on the loudspeaker. Apologies for this interruption. Don't miss the welcome rally in the quad at lunch. And for all you 6th graders who don't know where the quad is, it's the center of campus near the flagpoles. Just listen for the marching band. Go, Lincoln Lancers, go! At least I know where I will not be eating lunch. Original Sydney will probably be there, so I will not. Then, towards the end of the period, there is another announcement. This time, it's an older woman talking slowly. Attention all students. Starting Friday, the library will be open during lunch. Please note that no food or drinks are allowed. Thank you. Keep reading. That is the best news I've heard all day. A minute later, the bell rings and everyone rushes out the door. I'm in no hurry. I take my time gathering my backpack, which is getting heavier with each textbook. I need to find my locker. Turns out the 6th grade lockers are behind the science building. I can barely hear the marching band. It's the perfect spot to have lunch. I sit on the ground against the lockers, unwrap my bologna sandwich, and eat it slowly. Then I stay there, reading my social studies book, waiting for the bell to ring. Only 3 more days until the library opens. I can't wait. I didn't have that many friends in Compton, so for the first few months we lived there, I didn't speak English. Even after I learned English, my parents didn't want me going to other people's houses, so they didn't know them. Our next door neighbor was in my class, but she had a big dog that always growled at us. They always had a sign on the chain link fence that said, "Warning, guard dog on duty." It was the opposite of a welcome mat. This is why I love books so much. They've always been there for me, and I can take them wherever I go. But still, when I find out that we were moving to Newport Beach, I was hoping to start a different chapter in my life. I will always love books, but it would be nice to have some living, breathing friends. As I walk home that day with my heavy backpack, I know one thing. All the kids already have friends, and there's no room for newcomers. In 5th grade, Miss Goodspeed asked us to write what animals we are most like. I said I'm like a turtle because when I need to, I go into my own shell. She taped the stories to the walls, and guess what? I was the only kid who picked turtle. Most of the other kids picked dogs, cats, horses. Everyone thought being like a turtle was totally weird. That seems to be my talent in America, doing things that other people think are weird. I still think I'm like a turtle. Okay, we're going to end it there. I'm curious to know, if you could be any animal, what would you be and why? Yeah. Think on that question. Please feel free to comment below. I'll leave the comments open. I will see most of you friends for our morning meeting. Other than that, all you other watchers out there, thank you for watching, and toodles. I hope you have a beautiful Thursday. Thank you, everyone.